again, like you say, not to be too cliche. Um, One of my favorite brands is Nike. Just do it. Steve Harvey, my doppelganger. I'm his doppelganger. Some say. Just do it. He has this video, and I'm sure you can YouTube it. It's got millions of hits by now. Just jump. A lot of times, we hold ourselves back because we ought to jump. And again, I got pushed, but you just got to jump. You just have to do it.
Welcome to the Amani Experience Podcast. In this podcast, you will experience wisdom, advice, and stories from creatives all over the world. Your host is Amani Roberts, who is a DJ, music producer, professor, avid book reader, and developing salsa dancer. On the show, we love to share the stories of creative professionals, especially people who have gone from the corporate life to the creative life. Once again, welcome to the Amani Experience Podcast.
Today on the show, we have Dr. Walter Sims. Dr. Sims is a spiritual life coach. And if there's one thing I've learned this year is that we all need a little coaching every once in a while. So I'm happy to have him on the show. He has been a spiritual leader for over 20 years. Walter has a Master's of Ministry degree as well as a Doctorate of Divinity degree. And he's certified in the expertise of coaching. Now, originally, Dr. Sims holds a Bachelor of Science degree in electrical engineering. So he's an engineer by trade, but life happened to him and he became a coach. He tells his story, so we have a really great conversation. I think you'll enjoy it. So let's take a listen. Thank you.
Welcome back to the show. On the line, on the phone, on the Skype, we have Dr. Walter Sims, who is known as the Minister of Motivation. Welcome to the show.
Hey, I'm glad to be here, man. How you doing, man?
I'm doing very well. I really appreciate you being on the show. We'll kind of get right to it. And as we're talking, the story of how we met will come out, and that's an interesting story. We met playing in a John Madden online football league on PS3, I think, when it first started out many years ago. I want to say, if we're in
many years ago.
I think it was like 13, 14 years ago. That's a long time.
Wow, that's a long time, Amani. That is a long time, man.
I first knew you as Rams baller, but now
that's right.
You like the Cowboys, which you should be ashamed of. But that's a different conversation for a different day.
Amen to that.
All right. Well, why don't you start us off? Tell us your story, and specifically kind of tell us, because I know you're you're an engineer, but now you are a motivational coach and a life coach. So tell us your story, how you kind of made the switch, which is what we really like to talk about on the show, people who have jumped from the corporate life to the creative life. Talk to us about your career, your story, and how you made the switch.
Well, again, thank you for sharing me with your audience. To make a long story very short, when I was a senior in high school, and that's several years ago, I asked my dad, who was a Baptist pastor, I asked him, how does a man know that God has called him into ministry? Because, my whole life, everybody was like, you're going to be a pastor just like your dad. And so I really wasn't trying to hear that. So I asked him, and I'm a senior in high school, and he basically said, when the Lord calls you, you'll know. And so at that same time, I had to do a research paper for my English class. And for some reason, I chose electrical engineering. I remember it was our science class. And I picked electrical engineering. And so when I was digging into it, it said that, you're good in math and science. And in my naivete, I said, well, I'm good in math and science, so I'll go down that path. And subsequently got my degree from the University of Alabama in Birmingham. I was a co-op student at a steam plant in that process. And I sent my resume to my co-op advisor, and they sent it to the nuclear plant, which was 4 hours from Birmingham and Dothan, Alabama. And in about a 30-day window, I was hired on at Farley and spent the next several years working. A little after I started working at the nuclear plant, I started hanging out with a couple of young preachers, and, man, we would go to youth meetings, youth revivals, concerts. And, man, one evening we were at a youth meeting, and the Spirit of the Lord just dropped on me, man. I called my mom and dad and said, well, you know, I'm going to accept my calling into the ministry. And so I spent several years doing that. I eventually became a pastor. And in about 2009, I was talking to Nevada Balling, and I was talking to him about some residual income and some things I could do, because he was working as a gamer. He was working as a customer service. He was doing different things for residual income. So we had a conversation, Amani, and he said, well, what else is a pastor but a life coach, Dr. Sam? Ding, 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 ding. And I hired me a coach, and we kind of went down this path where you're a minister and you got this serious knack for encouraging people. How you going to meld the two? How you going to bring both of those together? And thus, the Minister of Motivation was born. I think this was like 2009. So I began my business 2010. So at the same time, me launching a business, quote unquote, I was still working 40 plus hours a week as an engineer. So years passed, and so it's 2015, and I was in and out of performance improvement plans at work. So the last one I got on was November of 2014, and so here it is, April of 2015, about a 6-month window. My supervisor, April the 17th, 2015, calls me, taps on my cubicle wall and say, you know, we got an emergent meeting at 4 o'clock downstairs. And so I wasn't thinking anything this particular day. And so we went downstairs at 4 o'clock. She came in, her boss came in, human resources came in. Still, I'm in the dark. And my supervisor basically didn't have any greetings, no, hey, how you doing? Basically said, you a low performer. Your performance hasn't improved, so today you're terminated. And so, you know, did I have this big elaborate work down curve? Did I have this big elaborate plan to work out of my job? No, my job quit me, because you hear a lot of people saying, well, you know, you need to quit your 9 to 5. Well, my 9 to 5 quit me. And so when I broached that subject when I got home, the first thing my wife says after she calmed down from a hurricane to a tropical depression, the first thing she said was, yeah, that was funny. The first thing she said was, well, what are you going to do now? I said, well, I have time to work my business, because, Amani, there's a verse in the Bible that says you can't serve two masters. And what a lot of us ought to do that believe we have a calling or a purpose or an entrepreneurial spirit, what we do a lot of times is that we're working 9 to 5 and we are neglecting serve two masters. I believe that interpretation is you're going to neglect one of the two. And I was neglecting my business, still working 9 to 5. But once I got to the place where I was appreciative of where I was, then this opportunity came about for me to leave that. And I've been working for the last 29 months. I've been really focusing on my business, and I thought I was going hard. I thought I was all out. I thought I was all in, but I was not giving my business the due diligence that it needs, because a lot of people say, well, you know, once you work for yourself, you'll never work again a day in life. That's not quite the truth. The truth is we work more now as an entrepreneur, but it's such a joy because we're doing what we've been called to do and what we're passionate about. And so pretty much in a nutshell, that's where I am right now, man. Okay. Great answer.
Talk to us about how did you recover from pretty much getting blindsided with kind of we'll say your termination from your employee who you've been working with for many, many years. How did you get back up? Because, you know, the one thing about entrepreneurs is, you know, we fall, we get right back up. So how did you get right back up?
Well, after the shock, and I love the way you put it, after being blindsided, pretty much I have an accountability partner, so we really started making sure that everything that I had, my website, my social media, we just made sure that everything was clean, i.e., make sure that everything was consistent, because just today, as a matter of fact, Amani, just today, I met with a couple that really needs some serious premarital coaching and some individual coaching. And the soon-to-be wife, she actually found an event that I'm doing this Thursday. It's a relationship seminar. She actually found that event and backtracked and looked up everything about me and made a call to me that her and her husband would like, or fiance would like me to coach them. And we had lunch together today. And that's just a testament to the next thing that I did, and this is for your listenership. When you find yourself blindsided, it's time for you to really look your hand over and make sure that everything you have set up entrepreneurially is consistent, because you and I know how important your brand is. And now that this is your business, your baby, you have to make sure that what my accountability partner, I call it, you got to make sure under the hood is together, because people will check you out, because they are investing in whatever it is that you're providing. You provide a service, I provide a service, and all of us entrepreneurs provide a service. And one of my other clients, she's one of my mentees, she's made a valid point in a couple of her broadcasts recently. She said people have options, and when they come to us, we got to make sure that our best foot is forward all the time, because there are so many hundreds, thousands of coaches, for example. And since I'm a coach, there are thousands of coaches. So when somebody comes to me, I got to make sure that if nothing else, everything is clean and they can really follow the thread and say, wow, this young man is consistent. So if you are about positivity, everything you do has to be positive, because it has to all connect, if you will. And so to really answer your question, in a nutshell, I just took the time to make sure that everything that I was doing was consistent, and my brand was the same across the board.
Okay. Now, let's kind of continue. You said that there's thousands and thousands of coaches out there, which there are. Right. Life coaching, It seems to be the new kind of career to develop. What do you do to kind of rise above all the noise and the competition and make your brand and your type of coaching and your skills stand out?
That's a great question, and really what makes me different is that I am a pastor also, and so I'm a spiritual life coach, and my thing, if you will, is I help people walk in their purpose. And there are a lot of purpose coaches, if you will, but I'm so different because I coach on demand, and I don't necessarily have cookie cutter tools, if you will. And I have a few tools that are cookie cutter, but I coach on demand. And a lot of times my pre-coaching form lays out kind of a thought process for my potential client. But a lot of times we have to look at what they are not saying. For example, the couple that I was dealing with today, that they have a lot of trust issues, but underneath that, the soon-to-be wife is also dealing with a lot of anger because she has been hurt, for example. So, I have to deal with that as well. And just my personality, that's the reason I love live stream so much, because people can really see me in my natural element. When I'm on camera, quote unquote, live stream, people get to see the energy that I bring to the table. You know what I'm saying? And I'm consistent. I'm always on, quote unquote, especially when you're on camera, when you're live streaming. It's so nice now. Live stream has just really taken what we're doing in social media to another plateau, and I love it. But I really care about my client. And what I say, Amani, is that thank you. And I thank my clients for allowing me to share their life with them. And just that small nuance really resonates with people because they want an experience. A coach is a coach is a coach is a coach. But I make it an experience. You know what I'm saying? And I've coached several years now. And all of my clients say the same thing, that they enjoyed the experience with me. You know what I'm saying? And so I really take pride in the fact that I don't treat it like a coach-client relationship. I treat it as a genuine relationship. It's not so much the exchange of money or I'm giving you a couple of 3 weeks, 4 weeks. We are sharing time together. We're sharing space together. You are allowing me into your life, and I don't take that for granted. You know what I'm saying? It's not a bean count for me. It's not I'm trying to become rich, if you will. And that's part of me being successful and wealthy is I'm fulfilling my purpose, and I'm working on that in my next book, Walk in Purpose, Grow Rich. It's about fulfilling my purpose, and my purpose is helping people realize what their purpose is. And that's, in my estimation, that's the only way you can truly be successful if you are fulfilling your assignment. All of us have an assignment. You are so awesome in your assignment. I've watched you in person, and I've witnessed you live doing your thing, and you are awesome. But I can't do what you do. You can't do what I do. But in each instance, we are unique, and we all have a purpose, an assignment. So, again, to answer your question in a nutshell, I call it sharing your life with you. And I really pride myself in the fact that I really take that very seriously. And it's not a just transactional thing with me. It's a fact that we're sharing space together, which I honor. You know what I'm saying? And I thank my clients for allowing me to be that person that they entrust to help them have a breakthrough. You know what I'm saying? And so, man, it's just awesome, man. I love it. When that person has that aha moment, man, it's priceless.
All right, cool. Now, you're a spiritual life coach. I still consider you to be a creative person. You're part of the creatives. So,
That's right.
In your opinion, what's important for creative professionals such as yourself, myself, what's important for us to succeed in today's business environment?
Man, that is so awesome. We're always creating. You have to be flexible, and you can't be tied to one thing. And let me say it, we think that, and I'm going through, I got another coach I'm working with helping me with some different things. I got, some relationship stuff coming up. The thing that you subscribe to, the motivation zone, one of the big arguments, if I can use that word, one of the big challenges we have as coaches is affordability. Everybody needs a coach, but everybody can't afford a coach. And so we are challenged with coming up with ways, creative ways, to make us accessible. And so I've created something, a subscription, an exclusive subscription that at this time, and it's going to go up, but at $9.95 a month, you're going to get a free ebook, you're going to get a weekly email, and you're going to go in a drawing to sit in my monthly mastermind, and we're going to peel the onion back a little bit and really take a deep dive and deal with some stuff. And that is a small investment. It's a Netflix subscription, for example. So the whole point is, being a creative, you can't get locked in to one road to get where you want to go. You got to be open, and I hope the audience listens to that. You have to be open. As a creative, you got to be open. Your end goal may be the same, but how to get there has to change up. You know what I'm saying? And so you can't get locked in to just go south if you need to go north. You know what I'm saying? And so as a creative, you got to always, and especially as an entrepreneur, you just got to be very creative, all puns intended. You got to be very, very sensitive to shifting direction. For example, I love Periscope, but the shift now is more live stream on Facebook. Now, the reason I love Periscope is because that's where I cut my live stream teeth on. It's just my first love in live stream. But you still got to do YouTube. And so I take a lot of things that I do, cut it up and put it on YouTube, because I have a YouTube channel as well. but I'm doing a little bit more on Facebook. I motivate in the morning on Periscope, and in the evening, late night, I do Facebook Live, and I'm getting some good numbers. So, to answer your question in a nutshell, to be a creative, and this seems kind of obvious, but if you want to be a creative, you got to be open and sensitive to shifts. You know what I'm saying? And so you just can't get locked into just one way of doing things.
Yes, I agree. Good answer. Tell us or share with us, what are some things that scare you?
Oh, man, Monty, you're asking some awesome questions. You're asking some phenomenal questions. And if I can be very transparent, and you and I, have talked about this offline, and the reason that a lot of people won't walk this journey is because it's a faith walk. And without being spiritual or anything, using faith in the sense that you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, i.e., you don't know if you're going to get another gig in your arena. You don't know if somebody is going to need you. I got that client. I got that couple today. I got a speaking engagement today, a local speaking engagement. It wasn't much, but it's an opportunity. So you just don't know where your opportunity is going to come from. It's a faith walk. And what people don't realize, even on these jobs, I didn't see being fired in my future. I knew I had this life coaching business, motivational speaking coaching business. That was my baby. That's my heart, my pastorate, my TV, my radio. That's my heart. But I did not see me getting fired April 17, 2015. So everything we do is a faith walk. I shared that with the couple today. Love is a faith walk. And so one of the fears is that, who's going to see me? And that held me back from starting my television show a lot sooner. Ain't nobody going to listen to me. Who am I? I'm just Dr. Walter Sim. I'm just Lil Walter from Birmingham, Alabama. But what live streaming has taught me, there are folks that want to hear me. I got some decent numbers in social media space, and that's even going higher. But you have a voice. And a lot of times the fear is nobody's going to listen, but lo and behold, somebody's listening. But again, to be very short answer, give you the long and short of it, it's just the fear that you will be okay financially, one thing. And the second thing is that are you going to reach all the people that you have been assigned to reach? You know what I'm saying? And so that's why a lot of times, sometimes as an entrepreneur, as a creative, you feel like you're playing catch up because, because you and I know, we're working 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 hours a day. And even when we lay down, we're like, man, I'm so excited I can't sleep and can't wait to wake up in the morning. You know what I'm saying? And it's exciting and it's scary at the same time.
Yeah. You, to pardon the pun, you're preaching to the choir here. So, yeah, definitely agree.
That's right.
Continue with the topic of fear, which is one thing that stops so many people from advancing forward.
Oh, my goodness.
What advice would you have for people who are trying to get over their fear to maybe take the leap from going from the corporate life to the creative life? What advice would you have for people like that?
Again, like you say, not to be too cliche, one of my favorite brands is Nike. Just do it. Steve Harvey, my doppelganger, I'm his doppelganger, some say. Just do it. He has this video, and I'm sure you can YouTube it. It's got millions of hits by now. Just jump. A lot of times, we hold ourselves back because we ought to jump. And again, I got pushed, but you just got to jump. You just have to do it. And two of the greatest fears that I have started talking about that you never really hear talked about is the fact that we might miss God if we don't do that thing that we've been called to do. We just might miss God. Number one, that really should be our greatest fear. The second fear akin to that is I'm going to miss those people that are waiting on my arrival. Because you got a bucket load of people. I got a bucket load of people. There are 7 billion people in the world, and all of us that are here have an assignment. We have a lot in those billions of people. We have people that we need to reach, and we should be afraid that we may miss the opportunity to touch their life. Man, many people have inboxed me and emailed me and texted me and said, Dr. Sims, you made a difference in my life. You know, I want to live again. You know, there's no money in the world that can touch that. You know what I'm saying? And so it's fulfilling to know that you're serving your purpose. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, man, it's just no greater joy, my brother. It's a blessing, man. And I'm very thankful to be walking this thing out. You know what I'm saying? And, man, I'm having a good time, man. I'm having a good time.
I know. I'm watching you. So, you know, keep it up. Keep it up. The next question kind of continues with your thought process, I'm pretty sure. But tell us, why do you love what you do?
Wow, that is a great, great question. Because, you know, it's, again, just to continue the statement I made just a second ago, it's just no greater joy because I'm in the self-help profession. You know, I'm a pastor, I'm a life coach, I'm a speaker, and it's just there's no greater joy to know that something you said or did blessed somebody, you know, that money can't buy. I remember, you know, when I first started live streaming, we started the first church of Periscope. I was motivating 3 times a day. And this lady was sitting in her car. She let us know while I was live streaming, she let us know that she was in the car thinking about taking her life, but she said she would wait and listen to me. And, I mean, I know I probably broadcast 30, 45 minutes or even an hour, and we were just ministering, we were talking, we were encouraging, we were playing music, and she popped in the scope just the other evening and said, Dr. Sims, I'm still watching you, I still love you. And just from that, I mean, literally, she said she was about to take her life. I mean, Amani, she was like, she said she had every intention of ending her life that day, that moment in time. And for some reason, she ended up watching my live stream. And she brags to this day that I saved her life, literally. And again, and I'm not saying that to brag or anything. It's just to echo what you said. You know, why do I love it? Why do I enjoy it? Now, that for somebody else, that may not mean a whole lot to somebody else. You know, that's not their thing. But people are just my thing. That's my drug. You know, that's my drug of choice. I love people. And so, you know, things like that just, man, it just lights my fire. You know what I'm saying? And it's just a blessing. It really is a blessing to be able to be an instrumental part in helping somebody to their next level. You know what I'm saying, man? And it just blesses my socks off.
Yeah, that's heavy. Good story. Wow. Out here saving lives. I love it.
You know, right. I mean, it's nothing but it's the gospel truth, man. You know, because me and you and I may have talked about this, but me and some of my colleagues say all the time, you know, we can't make this up for real. You know what I'm saying? And and to chase a rabbit, you know, a lot of the creators in this space talk about, you know, providing great content. Well, you know, I mean, I hit the broadcast button and stuff just comes up because people are dealing with so many things. It's not really hard coming up with content. I think the greater challenge is for people to use the content because, I mean, there's so much content now. You can look up anything about anything. But I think the key is, and I talked about it this morning, just knowledge is just not the key. It's the application of what you know. Because you and I know this, and you know this. anybody could play a record, but to really play that thing so that it really moves people, it's an art to it, and it's an art form,
Definitely.
and you are master DJ. You know what I'm saying? a lot of people could play music, but you make that thing pop. You don't hear me. You make it, as my young folks say, you lit. You stay lit, Amani, as my young folks say. You know what I'm saying? And so it's an art. You can tell people that have a knack for what they do. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just a joy, man. It's just a joy.
Cool. You mentioned before that you have a life coach. You have a coach yourself. Why does a life coach or a spiritual coach need a coach?
Well, it's sort of like, okay, thank you. I mean, the Lord just dropped this analogy in my spirit. I'm telling you, he just dropped this. This is fresh from the throne of heaven, y'all. It's sort of like a gas station. You may ask the same question. Why would a gas station need gas? Come on, somebody. So, we go to the gas station to fill up, but who fills up the gas station? A bigger tank. You know what I'm saying? And so I pour out and I pour out and I pour out and I pour out. So I need to be able to go to somebody that can see my blind spots, help me stay sharp, help me stay on top of my game, fill me up, keep me motivated, keep me energized, because I'm serving so many people. You know what I'm saying? Because my accountability partner, we talk in about 15 minutes, my accountability partner really helped me through a lot 2 years ago. The same year I got fired, my dad passed. I got audited by the IRS. I have some other financial trials, and it's just good to have a sounding board. It's good to have somebody that can help you through uncharted territory, because, I've never been an entrepreneur. And so, there's some things that I don't know. I have some strength, but I also have some weaknesses. And again, you and I know that the people that are at that next level, your President Trumps, your Jay-Z's, your Beyonce's, your Oprah's, your Tyler Perry's, your Ushers, your P. Diddy's, all of those guys have coaches, mentors, accountability partners, because believe it or not, at their level, they still want to go higher. I'm reading, and you're going to get to this, and I'm getting ahead a little bit. I'm reading The Power of Broke, and Daymond John says you got to stay hungry. And a lot of times, too many people are, and I talked about it this morning, they're too comfortable. But you got to stay on top of your game. And because what you don't want to happen, you don't want to get comfortable, because once you get comfortable, you might as well stick a fork in you. You're done. Yep.
Preach. Well, all right, that's a good segue. Let's go back in the day, and we're going to talk to 21-year-old Walter Sims. You're probably just about to graduate from University of Alabama, Birmingham. Back in the day when maybe Paul Bear Bryant was still coaching. And,
that's right.
And what kind of advice would you give yourself to your 21-year-old self? What would you say?
Well, as a matter of fact, Amani, I turned 50 last year, and I wrote an article. Thank you, man. I wrote an article, and I'm still a featured contributor to the Good Men Project. And I wrote an article about what have I learned in 50 years. And one of the few regrets that I have, and I mentioned a little while ago that my dad was a Baptist pastor. And if I had have accepted my calling sooner, him and I could have really had a deeper relationship, because, man, at his homegoing, at his funeral, it was wall to wall. It was preachers from the East Coast to the West Coast, from the North to the South. Our small church, our humble church, was filled to capacity, and he poured into so many preachers. And you can always, second guess, but I could have had more connections. I could have been in another lane. I could be a little bit further along, but most of all, I could have had a more impactful relationship with my dad. We were good because one of our last conversations, he said he was proud of me, you know, and that really made me feel good. And we just could have went some more places that we didn't have a chance to go because I was just in a different lane. You know what I'm saying? So that being said, I said in the article that you need to find your lane as quickly as you can because you just don't know how many opportunities you let slip by just because you were in the wrong lane. You know what I'm saying? And so the advice I would give to my younger self is to just find and get in your lane a little bit sooner.
Good. Yeah. Can I say amen on a Monday? But anyways.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's talk a little bit about habits. What's maybe one or two new habits you've added to your daily routine in the past year, and how has it helped your efficiency?
Again, you know, you get a coach. And another thing that I added, I meditate. And I was meditating just the other morning, and it just led me to do something and reach out to one of my colleagues here in town, and we're having a conversation tomorrow. But meditating and just getting quiet. I go to a movie once a week, relax, because another thing I teach my clients is that you got to have some fun time. You know, it's not always, you know, go, do. I spend time, I relax. You know, I get me a manicure and a pedicure every 3 weeks and just taking care of myself because I'm having to take care of so many people. You know what I'm saying? And so just adding a me regimen, making sure I have a coach, and you and I talk, I read, I listen to a lot of motivational stuff myself. You know, I like listening to other people, and I just got a book in the mail today, and I didn't even know that was going to be one of your questions. I got in the mail today. I ordered it a couple of nights ago. I love Amazon.com. Just a free plug for Amazon.com Prime. I got The Power Broke in the mail today, and I started reading that by Daymond, one of the men in the Shark Tank. And so again, you got to stay sharp, you know, and so those are some of the things I've added to my regimen.
Love it. Maybe talk to us about some books you've already read that you would recommend people kind of stop what they're doing and pick them up right away and start to read them.
Well, you know, you got to go to livingmotivated.eStore.com. Get Living Motivated, 2nd edition, my award-winning book, The Beatitudes of Living a Motivated Life. You need to get I Declare Love, a 21-day devotional to improving your self-esteem. You need to get Just What the Doctor Ordered, a book of my quotes, a 21-day prescription to become more positive. And the current book I'm working on is Walk in Purpose and Grow Rich. Just because you're a successor doesn't mean you're living in purpose, but if you're living in purpose, you're going to be successful. You need to stop, go to livingmotivated.eStore.com. I got 3 T-shirts on there as well. I got The Secret of Success. It's an old book. Hold on, it's on my bookshelf. Hold on. It's an old book, Amani. It's by Wallace D. Man, I like this book. It's really 3 books in one. The Science of Getting Rich, The Science of Being Well, and The Science of Being Great by Wallace D. Wattles. It's an old book, but man, it's good because, you know, theory doesn't really change, you know, and you know you got to read the Bible, but books like this, Positive Psychology, I got that on my shelf, Find Happiness Now. So I'm always reading about being happy and joy and things of that nature because it's all about attitude. I'm a big proponent of attitude, you know, so anything dealing with attitude, I jump on with all 4.
Good. Sounds good to me. Tell the people how they can find you online, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. How can people find you online?
Oh, thank you, Amani. Again, I just want to thank you for spending a few minutes with a dear friend, and I've watched you grow into an awesome young man, and I really admire you. I'm very proud of you, and I'm glad to say this. I'm Google-licious. Just type in Dr. Walter Sims and all of my stuff will pop up. I'm so excited about that, Amani. That thing blessed me. We were at lunch today, and I said, you just made my day. She said, oh, yeah, I Googled you. And, man, we laughed so hard. And she said, I research everything. And her fiance said, Dr. Sims, she researches everything. And they were excited to meet me even before we showed up, because she told all of her coworkers, I'm going to see Dr. Sims. What? I got me a counselor lined up. I'm going to see me a counselor. Why do you need to do that? I got some stuff I got to work on. And, man, she was excited. and they just made me feel good. But basically, the quickest way to find this, you can tweet me. And Twitter is the happening thing now. I'm at Dr. Walter Sims, DrWalterSims. And so tweet me. You can tweet me, and my direct message is open. So you can hit me on Twitter and leave me a message, and I'll get back in touch with you.
Fantastic. All right, so we're going to close out the show. But before we go, any last-minute words of wisdom or advice for us on the show? You've been a great guest. I appreciate your honesty, your transparency, and all the wisdom. So anything else that's popped in your mind that you want to share before we go our separate ways for now?
Yes, sir. Real quickly. I'm working on a relationship seminar, so this is just in my spirit right now. We used to give Terrell Owens, and you and I, we used to crack each other because I just love wide receivers, and I just love him in his prime. I love Terrell Owens, but we used to laugh at him when he would grab the pom-poms or pour the popcorn out and run and put the ball in the middle of the stars when he played for the 49ers and he played in Dallas. He used to say this was his favorite phrase, I love me some me. And it's in one of my books. And we laughed at that, but now that I'm a life coach and I deal with so many people that are dealing with self-esteem issues, you have to love you. At the end of the day, and in I Declare Love, I have a quote that says, if you don't love you, it is criminal to expect somebody else to love you. And if you do nothing else after listening to Amani, after listening to me, if you do nothing else but love you, you are one step ahead of a whole lot of people. So if you haven't heard anything else I said in this interview, love you. Wake up every morning and you look in that mirror and you say, I love you. You are awesome. You are amazing. You are wonderful. You are glorious. You have been fearfully. You have been wonderfully made. And you off the chain. You are the bomb.com. And so, we want a cheerleader. You be your cheerleader. If nobody else sings your praises, you sing your praises because you are somebody. And if you stay high on life, life is going to stay high on you.
Yes, sir. That's Dr. Walter Sims, the Minister of Motivation. Thank you very much, sir, for appearing, and we'll have you back on the show sometime soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Amani.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for listening to the Amani Experience podcast. You can check out the show notes on amaniexperience.com/podcast. Please remember to leave us a review on the platform you are listening on, and share this podcast with anyone who you feel would benefit from listening. See you soon on our next episode.